This is an educational podcast, or EduCast, created by Jim House, Assistant Professor of Computer Science and Communication Arts Technology at Allegheny College of Maryland. For more information about Allegheny College of Maryland, please visit us on the web at allegheny.edu. The Internet really took off when people discovered electronic mail. More than 15 billion email messages speed over the Internet each year. Email is derived from the term electronic mail and can refer to a single message or to the entire system of computers and software that transmits, receives, and stores email messages. In this podcast, you get some information about how email works. In particular, the difference between free web-based email and traditional store and forward email. Any person with an email account can send and receive email. An email account provides the rights to a storage area or mailbox supplied by an email provider, such as an ISP. Each mailbox has a unique address, which typically consists of a user ID and an @ symbol, and the name of the computer that maintains the mailbox. For example, suppose that a university student, D. Green, has an electronic mailbox on a computer called Rutgers.edu. If her user ID is D. Green, her email address would be dgreen@rutgers.edu. An email message is a document that is composed on a computer and remains in a digital or electronic form so that it can be transmitted to another computer. The message header includes the recipient's email address, message subject, and attachment file name. The body of an email contains your message. The message header and the body are usually displayed in a form. Basic email activities consist of writing, reading, replying to, and forwarding messages. Messages can be printed, kept for later reference, or deleted. After you receive an email message, you can use the forward feature to pass it on to other people. You might, for example, forward a message that was sent to you but should really be handled by someone else. When you initiate the forwarding process, the original email message is copied into a new message window, complete with the address of the original sender. You can then enter the address of the person to whom you're forwarding the message to. You can also add a note about why you're passing the message along. Some email systems allow you to alter the text of the original message before you forward it. If you do so, include a note explaining your changes, especially if they alter the intent of the original message. You should not forward messages that were intended to be confidential. If you think that such a message needs to be shared with other people, obtain permission from the author of the original message. Originally, email messages were stored in a plain and simple format called ASCII text. No fancy formatting was allowed, no variation in font, type, or size, or color, or underlining, or boldface, and of course no pictures or sounds. Although you cannot insert a digital photo or a sound file into a plain ASCII email message, you can send these kinds of files as email attachments. Any file that travels with an email message is called an email attachment. A conversion process called MIME, or Multi-Purpose Internet Mail Extensions, provides a clever way of disguising digital photos, sounds, and other media as plain ASCII text, and then it can travel over the Internet as an email attachment. An electronic message incorporated in an email header provides your email software with the information that allows it to reconstruct the attachment in its original form. Most email software allows you to create email messages in HTML format. Why use HTML format for your email? Well, HTML messages can contain lots of fancy formatting that's just not possible with plain ASCII text. By selecting your email software's HTML option, you enter a world of colored, bold, italic, and underlined text, fancy fonts, embedded graphics, and various font sizes. The only limitation is that your email recipients must have HTML-compliant email software. Otherwise, your message will be delivered as plain, unformatted ASCII text. In addition to attachments and HTML formatting, today's sophisticated email systems typically offer many features. For example, the ability to maintain an address book and use it to select email addresses instead of entering them every time you compose a message. Use the address book to send mail to a group that consists of several email addresses. Send a carbon copy or a CC of a message to one or more recipients. Send a blind carbon copy or a BCC, which hides the addresses in the BCC field from other recipients of the message. Assign a priority to a message. High priority is usually indicated by an exclamation point or red text. Find a particular message in your list of old mail. Enlarge text sizes for easier reading. Sort messages by date received, sender's name, subject, or priority. Refuse to accept messages that arrive from a particular email address. Automate replies to messages that you receive while on vacation or when you will not be responding to email messages for a few days. Automatically fetch mail at specified intervals. Check spelling before sending a message. By understanding netiquette, you can avoid some of the pitfalls and problems of email communications. Netiquette is online jargon for internet etiquette. It's a series of customs or guidelines for maintaining civilized and effective communications in online discussions and email exchanges. For example, put a meaningful title in the subject line. Use uppercase and lowercase letters. Check your spelling. Be careful what you send. Be polite. Be cautious when using sarcasm and humor. Use smileys and text messaging shorthand cautiously. Use the BCC function for group mailings. Don't send replies to all recipients. Don't send huge attachments. Explain all attachments. Stay alert for viruses and notify recipients of viruses. Have you ever asked yourself, what is all this junk in my mailbox? One of email's main disadvantages is spam, which is unwanted electronic junk mail about medical products, low-cost loans, and fake software upgrades that arrives in your online mailbox. Today's proliferation of spam is generated by marketing firms that harvest email addresses from mailing lists, membership applications, and websites. Globally, spam accounts for about 75% of all email message. Legislation to minimize spam has not met expectations. Although it is impossible to avoid spam, you can reduce it by following these guidelines. Don't reply. Never reply to spam when you receive it. Guard your email address. Provide your email address only to people from whom you want to receive email. Be wary of providing your email address at websites, entering it on application forms, or posting it in a public place such as online discussion groups. Use spam filters. Report spam. If your email provider offers a way to report spam, use it. Change your email address. When spam gets out of hand, you might have to consider changing your email account so that you have a different email address. An email system is the equipment and software that carries and manipulates email messages. It includes computers and software called email servers that sort, store, and route mail. An email system also includes the personal computers that belong to individuals who send and receive mail. Email is based on store and forward technology, a communications method in which data that cannot be sent directly to its destination is temporarily stored until transmission is possible. This technology allows email messages to be routed to a server and held there until they are forwarded to the next server or the personal mailbox. 3 types of email systems are widely used today: POP, IMAP, and web-based mail. POP, or Post Office Protocol, temporarily stores new messages in your mailbox on an email server. When you connect to your ISP and request your mail, it is downloaded and stored on your computer. IMAP, Internet Messaging Access Protocol, is similar to POP, except that you have the option of downloading your mail or leaving it on the server. Web-based email keeps your mail at a website instead of transferring it to your computer. Before you can use web-based email, you need an email account with a web-based email provider. To obtain one, simply connect to a web-based email provider's website and enter the information required to obtain an email address, such as a user ID and password. Armed with these identifiers, you can connect to the email website from any computer that has access to the internet. At the website, you can write, reply, read, and delete email messages. Because most web-based email providers allocate a limited amount of space for each account, it is important to delete messages when you no longer need them. You don't want your electronic mailbox to overflow and cause some messages to be returned to the senders. Although you can choose to use web-based mail, you usually don't have much choice about whether you use POP or IMAP. You use the one offered by your ISP. Of the two, POP is currently the most typical. Most people who use POP have obtained an email account from their internet service provider. Such an account provides a mailbox on the ISP's POP server, a computer that stores your incoming messages until they can be transferred to your hard disk. Using POP requires an email client software such as Microsoft Outlook or Qualcomm or Eudora. The software, which is installed on your computer, provides an inbox and outbox that allows you to work with your mail even when your computer is not online. An inbox holds incoming messages. When you ask the email server to deliver your mail, all messages stored in your mailbox on the server are transferred to your computer and stored on your computer's disk drive and listed as new mail in your inbox. You can then disconnect the internet if you like and read the new mail at your leisure. In addition, outgoing mail is routed by an SMTP or Simple Mail Transfer Protocol server instead of a POP server. Many people ask, is a POP mail better than a web-based email account? Well, before answering this question, let's kind of review some important distinctions between the two types of email. First, POP requires you to install and use email client software, whereas web-based email allows you to use a browser as an email client software. Second, POP transfers messages to your computer's hard disk, whereas web-based email system retains your messages on its server. Both email systems have similar features allowing you to read, compose, reply to, delete, and forward email messages, maintain an address book, and send attachments. Each system does, however, have unique advantages. Your needs determine which system is better. For example, POP gives you more control over your messages because they are transferred to your computer's hard disk, where you can control access to them. Web-based email maintains your messages on its server, where you have less control over who can access them. When messages are stored on your computer, a hard disk drive malfunction could wipe out all of your correspondence, along with the rest of your files. Your web-based email provider is rigorous about safeguarding its data, so your mail can be safer there than if it was stored on your hard disk. The major advantage of web-based email is that you can access your messages from any computer connected to the internet. Therefore, you can get your email when you travel without taking your computer. In contrast, with POP, your computer contains your old email, your address, your email software. Therefore, to use your familiar email tools on the road, you really have to carry your own computer with you. This has been an EduCast podcast brought to you by Jim House and Allegheny College of Maryland.